Hello and welcome everybody from Muscat, the capital city of the Sultanate of Oman. I prepared many interesting information for you about the country and also about the capital, Muscat. And of course we'll also visit the main sightseeing attractions of the city. But first of all, I would like to show you where is this country on the map. So it shares land borders with Saudi Arabia, with the United Arab Emirates and with Yemen, while it has maritime borders with Iran and Pakistan. Oman has 5.5 million inhabitants, and this ranks the country to the 120th place. This is the world ranking of the most populous countries of the world. So, well, it's not a very small country, but it's also not very huge. So many people travel to Salalah because there you have very beautiful beaches, and Muscat doesn't have such a big fame about that. For example, this beach is not really sandy, not really beautiful, but it's good for me to make the introduction of the vlog because it's not crowded at all. Only a few people are walking here, so it's a great place to chill and relax. And this is the Arabian Sea on the southeast side of the country, and on the northeast side you can find another coast to the Gulf of Oman. Oman is an absolute monarchy led by a sultan with power passed down through the male line. In the modern era, the most famous sultan was Qaboos bin Said, who controlled and ruled the country for 40 years. He took control in 1970, and unfortunately he passed away on the 10th January of 2010, and he died childless. So he named his successor, his cousin Haytham bin Tariq, and the family, Qaboos family, confirmed him as the new sultan. So he is currently ruling the Sultanate of Oman. Oman has a relatively diversified economy, but it remains dependent on oil exports. In terms of monetary value, oil exports accounted 82.2% of the total exports of the country, but tourism is now also the fastest growing industry in the country. In Oman it is forbidden by law for couples, for men and women, to live together unless they are married, and the same is valid for hotel rooms. So if you're coming here as a tourist, be sure to ask if they let you to book the same room as an unmarried couple. Many hotels don't respect this law, so it's totally fine. You will find many hotels, but be sure about this. Well, it's the best option to book with a refund option, so you can be sure that if they don't let you in the same room, that you can still cancel the reservation. So it is also illegal to drink in public or be drunk in public, but there are some special shops with a license, and hotel bars, and also some clubs where you can buy drink, you can get your booze, so it's also an option. A decade after the successful voyage of Vasco da Gama around the Cape of Good Hope and to India between 1497 and 1498, the Portuguese occupied Oman and Muscat, and they were controlling the area for a period of 143 years, from 1507 until 1650. After the Portuguese conquered Muscat, they fortified the city and they built many outposts. Well, we'll also visit the remnants of these old constructions. They are also absolutely amazing. And after they took control over Muscat, they also conquered many other Omani cities in order to control all trading routes in this area, and of course they wanted to get all the money which was the income of this trade industry coming from the Persian Gulf. However, in 1552 the Ottoman fleet briefly conquered the fort of Muscat during the fight for control for the Indian Ocean and the Persian Gulf. But after they destroyed the fortress and all the surroundings, they left the area. The Ottoman Empire temporarily captured Muscat again from the Portuguese in 1581 and held it until 1588. In the second half of the 17th century, the Portuguese used their position in the Gulf in order to engage in the bloodiest and the biggest maritime battle of the Persian Gulf against the alliance of the Dutch East India Company, the Safavid Empire and the English East India Company. Well, the battle ended in a draw, but the Portuguese lost their influence in the Gulf. After this, Omanis were united by the Yaruba Imams. Imam is a leadership position in Islamic culture. For Sunni Muslims, the Imam is not just the prayer leader of the mosque, but also the leader of the community, and for Shia Muslims, the Imam is the most infallible leader of the Islamic community after the Prophet. Nasir bin Murshid was the first Imam of the Yaruba tribe, and he and his successors could defeat the Portuguese and could expel them in the years of 1650s, so the Portuguese left the Omani areas. The next Imam, Saif bin Sultan, was going after the Portuguese even further. He wanted to conquer the whole East Africa coast, and he did succeed. It was absolutely crazy when they already approached, the Omani fleet already approached Mombasa, the current Kenyan city, and there was a big garrison and a big fort of the Portuguese called Fort Jesus. And well, after 2 years of siege, the Omanis could conquer also Fort Jesus and Mombasa. Absolutely incredible. And after that they went even further and they also conquered Zanzibar, the current territory of Tanzania. So the Omani Empire became absolutely huge, and well, in 1700 they also conquered Bahrain. In the meanwhile, the British Empire was more afraid about the growing forces of the Omani Empire, because they wanted to control the Southeast Arabian area, and well, as same as the Portuguese, they wanted to influence and control the trade, and also to withstand other big European colonial forces. So it was a very interesting period of time with political tensions. In the 18th century, the British signed many treaties with the sultans in order to increase their political and economical interests in Muscat, and they granted military protection for the sultan. The first treaty was signed in 1798, and in these papers it was arranged that the Omanis cannot trade with the French and with the Dutch. So yes, this is how the British could influence them. They offered the military protection, and they got exclusive trading opportunity with Oman. And well, 2 years later they went further, and they also put an agent, like a consular, who was the main person handling the foreign affairs of Oman. So the British influence increased as the Omani Empire weakened. By the end of the 19th century, with the loss of the African dominion and its revenues, the British influence increased to the point that the Omani Sultanate was very dependent of British loans, and they signed treaties that they will not take any decision without consulting with the British government. So the Sultanate became de facto under the British sphere. Of course, the Omanis were unhappy about this situation, and the Imam Salim Al-Qarusi, who was living in the interior of the country, in the interior of Oman, started a revolution in 1913, and it lasted 7 years. In 1920, the British signed a treaty with the Imam, and two new countries, two new territories were established. The Sultanate of Muscat, because the British were only concerned about the shores of Oman. They wanted to get the money from the trading routes, so they wanted to control only the shores of Oman, and they were not interested about the interior. So in the interior, the Imamate of Oman was established. So in that point of time, the British didn't suspect that there are many oil fields in the interior of Oman. Said bin Taimur, Sultan of Muscat, expressed his interest to occupy the Imamate right after the death of the Imam, and the British in the end knew some information about the oil fields, that these are located in the interior of Oman, so they were supporting the Sultan. And in 1955, the troops led by the Sultan, assisted by the British soldiers, attacked the interior of Oman, and they wanted to conquer Nizwa, the capital of the Imamate of Oman. The British saw that there is no progress in the war, and it's absolutely incredible what happened after. Between July and December of 1958, more than 1,600 air raids happened. The British Royal Air Force dropped more than 1,000 tons of bombs on the interior of Oman. Absolutely crazy. They killed many civilians. Nobody's talking about this, but absolutely incredible what happened there. And in the end, the Imam gave up, and he fled to Saudi Arabia with his followers. And then the Sultan of Muscat conquered the whole Oman. The exiled Imam went to the Arab League and also to the United Nations to tell about these absolutely bad events. And after, the United Nations summoned the British, and they asked to end the British influence and everything the British control here in Oman in 1965, 1966 and 1967, and after the third call, the British left the region. After deposing his father, Sultan Qaboos opened up the country and invested a lot of money in welfare, education and health, so the country was developing very fast. He followed a policy of modernization, so the Omanis are very happy about his reign. This is why Sultan Qaboos is the most famous Sultan in the modern era, and many buildings and institutes are named after him. Qaboos Sultan ruled Oman for 40 years, and this means that he was the longest serving ruler. Nobody did such a long era like he did. And well, he also made other reforms, like 1970 he abolished slavery, once a cornerstone of the Sultanate of Oman. And after, also a little bit later we should say it, but in 1997 he gave a voting right for the women. So many reforms can be given to him, can be credited to him. This is the largest city of Oman, Muscat, where I am currently, and also the largest city of the Arabian Peninsula, because it has an area of 3,500 square kilometers, absolutely huge, which makes the life of the tourists very complicated. We need to travel by bus from one sightseeing attraction to another, and it can take 2 hours. So yeah, it is a little bit complicated, but we can do it. And approximately 1.72 million people are living here. Muscat has 6 provinces. These are called vilayat. Muscat is already known since the 1st century as an important trading hub connecting east and west. So this is the Gubra beach where I did the introduction of the vlog. As I see most of the people just walking here, and you can also rent jet skis. I saw only one guy swimming. Well, it's January of 2024, so the temperature of the sea is not very good. There are a little bit high waves, but I think it's still manageable to swim. This is not the most famous beach in Muscat. It was just very near to my hotel. So this is the reason why I came here to make the introduction of the vlog. Muscat has a very hot, arid climate when it is summer in my country. Between June and August here can be very hot, between 48 and 50 Celsius degrees, and now in January it's very pleasant. It's like 26 Celsius, and well, it can rain a little bit, but very rarely. Like between January and April, average precipitation is 10 centimeter, not very much. Also in Oman you can wear t-shirt and short pants as a tourist. Well, only on the street, because if you want to visit the Grand Mosque, of course you cannot do that. So yes, I googled this information before my trip, but to be sure I also asked the receptionist, and she confirmed it's totally fine that I will wear only t-shirt and short pants. Well, what I also wanted to add that about the public transportation in Oman, I mean in Muscat, in the capital, you have only buses, and you must have cash with you, which is a little bit a problem, because you need to exchange money all the time or withdraw cash from the ATM. So yes, you need to pay for the driver when you get on the bus. That's a little bit inconvenient, but well, you need to obey to the local habits. The currency of Oman is the Omani Rial, and the change is called Baisa. 1000 Baisa is 1 Omani Rial, and 1 Omani Rial is approximately 2.2 euro, something like that. To be honest, I really hate the public transportation here. I was waiting on the bench. It was really shady, and well, it's just 26 Celsius degrees, but after the cold winter of my country I was feeling like burning. I was not used to it, so I was waiting over there, and the bus for which I was waiting was just driving away without even slowing down, driving very fast in front of me. When I stood up, I had no chance to make a sign or something. The bus was already far away. That is really horrible. Like, why the driver don't stop at the, or just slow down at least to take a look if somebody is waiting there at the waiting area. Absolutely annoying. So now I'm waiting for the next bus, which is coming in 25 minutes. So yeah, it's a horrible experience. I rather wait now standing, even though I'm a little bit tired. I walk every day more than 10 kilometers. Yeah, actually I want to go now to the Muttrah Souk, and it's like more than 1 hour walking from here, so I rather take the bus, but it's really bad. You can also take a taxi, of course, but I tried yesterday evening. They wanted to overcharge me, and usual negotiation makes me really tired, because I did it in many countries. So no, it's a big no for me. They're really annoying me. I don't like negotiating with the taxi drivers anymore, and of course the bus is anyway cheaper. So as I mentioned, Muscat is very huge. It was hard to choose a good location for my accommodation because of course, what should I do? All the attractions are on separate places. I was thinking to book in old Muscat, but well, there I didn't find any good and well, what I mean with a good hotel, I mean that I read usually the reviews on booking.com, and based on others' opinions I book my hotel. So I didn't find any good one. My hotel is like 3.5 kilometers from the Grand Mosque and 18 kilometers far from old Muscat. Yeah, it's kind of far. But what should I do? It was hard to decide where to book. A lot of seagulls on the shore. This is the old town already, Muttrah. The most famous point of Muttrah is the Muttrah Souk, the Bazaar. Of course, we will go there. And over there on the rocky hill you can see the fort of Muscat. It was built by the Portuguese in 1507 and it was used until the modern era. It has a strategic position as it overlooks this gulf. It was easier to spot the enemy ships if somebody approached the Muscat. They could see it better from this fortification. Well, we'll also go inside because this building is open and the entrance fee is 2 rial. So this is the Muttrah Souk, also called Al-Dalam Souk in local language. Al-Dalam means darkness. The Muttrah Souk is one of the oldest marketplaces in Oman, dating back 200 years. It is located adjacent to the harbor of Muscat and has seen immense trade in the age of sail, being strategically located on the way to India and China. It was named after the darkness because of the crowded stalls and lanes where the sun rays do not infiltrate during the day, and the shoppers need lamps to know their destinations. In the past, the market was built from mud and palm leaves, which suit the high temperatures and the hard climate conditions, and hence were the best available materials to build the market at that time. Today the Muscat municipality has renovated and decorated the market to maintain the popular style, but has also introduced modern amenities and redecorated the market heavily to attract tourists and make the shopping experience comfortable for tourists as well as other ordinary shoppers. The main thoroughfare of the souk carries mainly household goods, shoes and ready-made garments. If we go further inside, there are mixed smells of frankincense, perfume oils, fresh jasmine and spices.
like a Dior or Louis Vuitton?
Not a brand.
Camel.
Hi. Look.
Bye.
Yeah.
How much is for this?
3 riyal.
Too much. Thank
Take
you.
it 2 riyal.
Thank you.
How much? €5. €5, no?
Yeah.
€5 only. Come on. Still behind that.
My friend, the Oman cap.
Hello.
Welcome.
So, try this.
A visit to the Muttrah souk wouldn't be the same without a stroll through the narrow alleys that house the glittering gold shops. The bridal gold worked into bips, buckles and belts may not be to everyone's taste, but the sheer accumulation of treasure in the shop windows is exciting to the eye, so it is also recommended to visit this part of the souk, where you can find many jewelry and a lot of gold stuff. Very near to the Muscat Fort we can also find the Portuguese watchtower, also dating back to the 16th century. It was a very good location to spot the enemies. And now let's go up to the Muscat Fort, which was constructed by the Portuguese in 1507. It was conquered many times and destroyed many times, so what we see now is not what was built in the 16th century, and of course it was renovated for the tourists. And I must correct myself, they increased the entrance fee already. It is 3 real. There on the right side you can see the Portuguese watchtower, which cannot be visited. There is no way to climb there. Yes.
Hello.
Hello.
Come to Oman, come.
Nice to meet you.
Yes. It's the follow, it's subscribe. It's the follow. Subscribe. Ahmed, ايش اسمك سام عشان انت؟ Ahmed.
Okay, here are my Omani friends. Nice to meet them.
Welcome to
Yeah.
Oman, welcome.
Thank you very much. It was nice to see you.
Muttrah.
Yes,
Thank you,
yes.
my friend. Welcome.
Yes, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.
إلى اللقاء. يوتيوب ها؟ تصوروا؟
Yes, yes. This is the second time that the locals wants to participate in my video. It's very funny, but they're also very friendly. I really appreciate it. I think Omani people are very friendly. So far I met only nice and very kind people.
Ah, camera na. Yes.
You're from Pakistan?
Yes, we from Pakistan.
Okay. So you like living in Oman better?
Yes, very.
Oman better?
Yes, Oman is the best for me.
Better salary than in Pakistan?
Yes.
Okay. So what is your job?
We are truck driver.
Truck driver.
We are truck driver.
Now day off or
Day.
day off? Today chilling, not work.
Not today. Work with that.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you. Welcome.
This is the Muttrah Corniche, a 3-kilometer long waterfront promenade of Muscat. Along the Corniche we can find many sightseeing attractions. Actually it begins over there with the harbor. You can also find the fish souk there. It is open in the morning. You can buy fresh seafood there, and we just visited the Muttrah souk, which is over there. And most recently we were on the top of the mountain. There you can see the Muscat Fort. So many attractions alongside, and also many cafes, bars. Don't think about alcohol. And well, you can also buy many souvenirs. Moreover, in the Bazaar, in the souk, but of course there you need to have some negotiation skills. There are also some stores with fixed price souvenirs also alongside the promenade. This is the Al-Alam Palace. It is located in old Muscat. It was used as a ceremonial palace by Sultan Qaboos. Al-Alam Palace, one of the 6 residences of the Sultan, has a history of over 200 years, as it was built under the watch of Imam Sultan bin Ahmed. The existing palace, which has a facade of gold and blue, was rebuilt as a royal residence in 1972. The inner grounds of the palace remain closed. You cannot enter here, but it is permitted to take a video outside, take photos. The palace is used for official functions and receives distinguished visitors. For example, in January 2012, the Sultan received Queen Beatrix of Netherlands at the Al-Alam Palace during her state visit to Oman. The palace was built over the site of the former British embassy, where there was a flagpole, a stump of a flagpole in the grounds, and there is a legend, a story that says that any slave who touched the flagpole was granted freedom, was blessed after touching this flagpole. Oman was infamous for its slave trade from East Africa. As I mentioned in the beginning of the vlog, they conquered most of the parts of East Africa. So this is the Al-Alam Palace. Of course, many tourists as usual, so good to take a look at the gate.
Oder den Wappen.
So, jetzt.
Aber kannst auch mit einer Kamera.
I wanted to show you the coat of arms, but it's too busy. Many tourists wait for it to take a photo. Over that fence you can see the bastion of Al-Jalali Fort, which was constructed by the Portuguese. Construction was ordered by Philip I of Portugal in 1580, and in the 20th century it served as a prison. It was the main prison of Oman. Well, now we cannot get closer. Actually, before all kind of travel plans, I Google the opening times of each attraction and the entrance fee and everything. So I did know that we cannot go inside of this fortress, but I was not expecting that we cannot get even close to it. Actually, the fortress is used for official visits. For example, when the Sultan has a guest, some head of a state or a queen, a king, as I mentioned before, then the Sultan usually also takes his precious guests to the fortress in order to visit it. But maybe because of this it is also protected by fences. Over there is a gate, and Google Maps and Maps Me shows that I should go across that gate, and from there I can get closer to the fortress, but there is also a sign that it is not possible to walk through, and photography is not allowed, so we are not lucky to take at least a photo of Al-Jalali fortress. It was called Forte de São João by the Portuguese, which means St. John's Fort. And here we can also find some old watchtowers which were renovated. Masjid Al-Khor is the oldest mosque in Muscat. It is open to non-Muslims between 8 AM and 11 AM from Saturday to Wednesday. It is the most beautiful mosque of Oman. This is what locals say, and nobody knows the exact year in which this exquisite mosque was originally built, but it was once known as Masjid al-Shuhada, or the Mosque of Martyrs, for the tens of funeral prayers delivered at this mosque for the Omanis who died to overthrow the Portuguese when they attempted to invade Oman again between the 17th and 18th centuries. Al-Khor Mosque is located right next to the Al-Alam Palace, so actually these are the fences of the palace. I am standing right next to the palace. Today the official name of Al-Khor Mosque is driven from the name of the inland gulfs of water resulting from the tidal waves crashing at the rocky coast of Muscat. Al-Khor Mosque is also known as family mosque because senior members of the royal family of Oman are known to pray in it. Al-Khor Mosque was renovated times over by different sultans, most recently in the year 1980 by Sultan Qaboos. Next to the mosque we find the fort Al-Mirani, which is also not open to the public, but at least we can take a look from a closer range. The fort existed prior to the Portuguese invasion and was later rebuilt by the Portuguese in 1587. The fort became the first to use cannons in Oman. There's also an interesting legend about this fortress. It says that the Portuguese commander fell for the daughter of a Hindu merchant supplier who refused the match on religious grounds. On being threatened with ruin, the supplier spent a year apparently preparing for the wedding, during which time he worked an elaborate trick on the Portuguese commander, convincing him that the fort's supplies needed a complete overhaul. Bit by bit, he removed all the fort's gunpowder and grain, and when the fort was left completely defenseless, he gave the nod to the Omani Imam Sultan bin Saif, who succeeded in retaking the fort in 1649. The Portuguese were ousted from Muscat soon after, and the wedding never took place. Well, I think this legend is exaggerated, of course. What kind of commander wouldn't see that the supplies are missing, the gunpowder is missing, so it's absolutely bullshit legend. And well, this merchant was also an asshole, destroying his daughter's heart, and well, I think the whole story is too much exaggerated, so they should invent something more appropriate. And this gate is also belonging to the Sultan's palace. So in this short area you can find many attractions next to each other. In the end I could find a tiny street which leads to the seashore, and from here we have a good view of the Al-Jalali fort. As I said, it was built by Philip I of Portugal because Muscat already been sacked by Ottoman forces twice. During the civil wars between 1718 and 1747, the fort was twice captured also by the Persians, who had been invited to assist one of the rival imams. The fort was extensively rebuilt after. Sometimes it also served as a refuge for the Sultan, for the royal family. It was Oman's main prison, but this function ended in the 1970s. So after that, Fort Al-Jalali was restored in 1983 and converted into a private museum of Omani cultural history that is accessible only to dignitaries visiting the country. So yeah, we don't have any chance to visit this fortress unless we became the president or the queen of one of the countries. This is the Muscat gate. It shows the previous location of the old city walls. The gate was used as a toll gate until the 1970s. In 2001 it was renovated, not just to show how it was in the ancient times when Muscat was protected by city walls, but also to host a local history museum which showcases the history of Oman from the Neolithic times to the present. It has a number of special exhibits on Muscat's water springs, the ancient wells, underground channels, the souks, houses, mosques, harbors and forts. So it's like a huge exhibition, but unfortunately it is open only from 8 AM until 1:30 PM, so I missed the entrance. We cannot enter right now, but well, maybe this exhibition is not very interesting for us. But it looks like that we can climb up, so why we shouldn't do it? Let's go upstairs. This is the Kalbu Park. Probably not so interesting for the tourists unless you want to enjoy this view of the rocks sitting behind the palm trees. Locals come here many times to picnic or just chill. There are also many children playgrounds. I also read that you can swim here, but I think that was a joke. I don't know what that tourist web page was meaning by that, as you can just suicide here. The map shows a river here. Even the assumption is very funny to have a river in Oman, here in the desert area, but well, it looks like here was a river indeed, but I have no idea when that happened, or when did it dry out, or maybe only after raining. It's a little bit of water here, some drops. Actually, Oman also has some mountains, so maybe in some seasons water is flowing from the mountains to this area. You cannot visit the Sultan's Armed Forces Museum, which was opened in 1988 by Sultan Qaboos himself. Well, now it is used again as military purposes. Bait al-Falaj fort was located here since many centuries, and that very old fort was transformed as a museum, but as you can see now, it is impossible to enter. I walked to the gate and asked the soldier if I can take at least a photo from outside, and he politely refused. He was smiling at me and said, "No, sorry, cannot do that." So actually he was very kind, and I like that he also said sorry. The Corniche also leads to the leafy Al-Mirani Park, with fine views of the harbor from the giant ornamental incense burner. What you can see in front of us, that white building, absolutely amazing architectural style to make an incense burner. Well, I don't know how to climb up there. I don't see any stairs from the bottom. There is also a small fun fair, popular with locals at weekends. Small theme park. Moreover, we can see some other Portuguese watchtowers, small ones. The Muttrah Fort was here. No, only some watchtowers remain. Oh, I think this is the way which leads to the top, to the incense burner. I can't see any tourists up there. Probably all lazy to climb up. And over there you can find one more watchtower. I think it's kind of interesting that the Omani government reconstructed all these, I mean renovated it. No entry, we cannot go upstairs. Cannot enjoy the view from there, but we were already compensated with the view from the Muscat Fort, so that's also fine. If you are wondering how come that Muscat has so many green areas, it is because they are watering the grass kinda often. That's the only way. It's too hot and it rains very rarely. There are months when it's not raining at all, so this is how they keep these green fields next to the highway. Now let's visit the Grand Mosque of Muscat, Sultan Qaboos Grand Mosque. This is the largest mosque of the country. Sultan Qaboos was the longest reigning leader and the most famous sultan of this country. He was ruling Oman for 40 years, and he said in 1992 that a grand mosque must be built, and in 1994 they already started the construction, and it took 6 years until this huge mosque was completed. It has very big dimensions, it's really huge, and it can accommodate 20,000 worshippers, but it's also absolutely famous about the very huge carpet. This was the Guinness World Record holder because it has 21 tons, and it took 4 years to sew it. It has 1,700,000,000 knots, so this was the largest carpet in the world. Before the Sheikh Zayed Grand Mosque was constructed in Abu Dhabi, where they also wanted to surpass this Guinness World Record. So now the Abu Dhabi Grand Mosque has a larger carpet, so this carpet here in Muscat is only on the second place, and it was designed in traditional Persian Tabriz, Kashan and Isfahan design. It was very important to follow the traditions. The mosque is made of stone with doors, windows and embellishments made of wood and glass. Around 300,000 tons of Indian sandstone was imported for the building. 5 minarets have been built around the premises of the mosque, and the main minaret is 90 meters high. Visitors are required to dress modestly, covering arms and legs and avoiding tight clothing. Women and girls aged 7 and above must also cover their hair. An abaya, a full-length dress and a scarf can be hired from the mosque cafe and gift shop for around 2.5 rial, and you also need to leave your ID as required for a deposit. Well, I didn't hear the words burqa and hijab here as in UAE, so it is called abaya in Oman. But we must also add that each Arabic country has its own traditions and own Arabic expressions, so you can also hire a tour guide like this. They will tell you more about the history of the mosque if you didn't make your research as I did before this trip. But well, of course I need it for the vlog. The mosque is open only from 8 AM until 11 AM, so that's why it's too crowded. All the tourists come in this time slot because as a non-Muslim you cannot enter otherwise. Dozens of people come here. There are many tour guides also. Look, there, just a big group is entering now, and when I did the introduction of the vlog already saw like 6 such a big groups entering the mosque, so it will be really crowded. This is just a side building of the mosque. Of course you need to take off your shoes or flip-flops if you want to enter to the buildings. Very beautiful wooden roof, ceiling actually.
接了。
他刚才没有收网钱。
Ja, nee, denk ik niet. Ik denk dit wel gewoon in een boei wordt geslagen en gewoon einde verhaal. Dit was het dan. Iets groter. Ja, precies. Dit is de hoofdmaaltijd.
Oh, dit is wel huge.
Ja. En lekker cool.
Ook zeker, ja. Один. А вот так. Вот, все.
Можно? Вот, так.
Ja, precies.
8 тонн весит.
Dat moet Muscat. Vanavond. Een liedje. Dat is toch wel, je moet ze allemaal hetzelfde behandelen. Mijn jongere collega's die hebben gewoon één vrouw.
那你要卷什么？
The chandelier above the praying hall is 14 meters tall. It used to be the world's largest chandelier before again being replaced in this respect by the Sheikh Zayed Mosque in Abu Dhabi. It weighs 8.5 tons and it includes 600,000 crystals. Absolutely shocking, 600,000 crystals. Look at this crowd. There are many buses outside bringing many people, many tourists to visit the mosque. No wonder it can accommodate 20,000 worshippers. Absolutely huge mosque. So this was the vlog about Muscat, the capital of Oman. I hope that you enjoyed it, and if that's so, please subscribe to my channel if you didn't do it yet. It's very important to push on the bell icon because this is how you get notified about the new content. Have a nice day and goodbye.